Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going to
Right.
be talking about something that I think a lot of our listeners are very
Mhm.
familiar with, and that's smart homes. Now,
Yeah.
remember back in the day when
Right.
a smart home was like, oh, cool, I can turn my lights on and off with my voice.
Exactly.
We've come a long way since then.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is really the next frontier. We're talking about houses that anticipate your needs, adjust themselves for maximum comfort and
Right.
efficiency. AI is
Yeah.
really taking things to a whole new level.
Yeah, AI has become a very big part of it, and we're not just talking about gimmicky stuff anymore. This is like really changing how people
It's not a novelty anymore.
in their homes. It's becoming essential.
Mhm.
And, by 2030, this market is expected to hit, get this, $200 billion.
Oh,
$200 billion.
yeah.
But here's the thing, right?
Okay.
A lot of people, they have these smart devices already, but they're not really, they're not using them to their,
Full potential?
they bought it because it was cool, and then it's just kind of sitting there.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's say I'm one of those people. I've got a couple of smart things, but I'm not really sure where to start to optimize everything.
You're not alone.
What's the first step?
So the first step is to do what we call a system analysis.
Okay.
And this is basically a way to really look at your smart home setup and see what's working, what's not working, and how to personalize it to meet your specific needs.
So is this a thing that I can do myself? Or is this like I call in a professional and they come in and do, I'm picturing someone with a clipboard going room to room.
Well, it can be both. Honestly, there are some aspects that you can definitely do yourself if you're tech savvy. But for most people, yeah, bringing in a professional can be super helpful. They have the expertise to do a really thorough assessment and come up with tailored
So
recommendations.
they're not necessarily going room to room with a clipboard, but
Yeah.
they're gathering some sort of data.
Oh, absolutely. It starts with data collection. They'll look at things like your energy usage patterns. So you know how much energy you're using at different times of day. They'll look at your daily routines. When are you home? When are you away? And even things like the local climate, because obviously that plays a role in how your home operates. And then they take all that data
Right.
and they use AI algorithms to analyze it.
Okay.
And that's where the magic happens. These algorithms can pinpoint inefficiencies that you might not even be aware of.
Interesting. Give me some examples.
Sure. So, for example, maybe your heating system's working overtime because you have poor insulation in certain areas of your house.
Okay.
Or maybe your lights are on when no one's even home. You just forgot to turn them off.
Right.
These are things that the analysis can reveal.
So it's not just about the gadgets themselves, but also about how those gadgets interact with the house itself and how I live in the house.
Exactly. You got it. It's about creating this holistic picture of your smart home ecosystem.
So how much of this is about fancy tech and how much is about just being smarter about, how I use the stuff that I already have?
It's a bit of both, honestly. You'd be surprised how much you can achieve just by optimizing the devices that you already have,
Okay.
just by tweaking some settings, being more mindful. But yeah, the AI definitely takes things to a whole new level. It's like having this super intelligent brain controlling everything, making sure everything's working in harmony.
So give me an example of where AI really like shines. What would it do that I can't do myself?
Okay. Well, think about a thermostat, right? A traditional thermostat, you set a schedule, it follows that schedule regardless of whether you're home or not. But an AI-powered thermostat,
Right.
it learns your routine, it knows when you're typically home, when you're away, and it adjusts the temperature accordingly.
Oh, wow.
So you're not wasting energy heating or cooling an empty house.
So it's like having a little butler who's
Exactly.
anticipating my every need. But doesn't that require some serious processing power?
Well, yeah, it does. But the beauty is that most of that processing happens in the cloud.
Ah, okay.
So your devices, they collect data, they send it to these powerful servers for analysis, and then they receive back these optimized instructions. So you're essentially getting the brain of a supercomputer without actually having to have a supercomputer in your basement.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Now, for someone who's starting from scratch, what are the key players in this world? What are the brands or the devices that people should have on their radar?
Oh, there are so many great options out there. But I'd say, when it comes to smart thermostats, you can't go wrong with Nest or Ecobee.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of
They're
those.
both packed with AI features, but they have slightly different approaches.
Okay.
Nest, for example, really heavily relies on occupancy sensors to
Uh-huh.
learn your patterns, whereas Ecobee incorporates weather forecasts into its calculations as well.
So even within that one category of device, there's nuances. And that's where, like, a system analysis would help me decide which one is right for my needs.
Precisely. It's about finding the perfect fit for your lifestyle and your home. And of course, it's not just about individual devices. You need a way to tie everything together.
Right.
And that's where voice-controlled hubs like Amazon Alexa or Google Home, they've become like the central command centers for many smart homes.
Okay, so I'm not juggling, like, 12 different apps to control everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want everything to work seamlessly together.
But what about those of us who maybe aren't so tech-savvy?
Right.
Is this all going to feel too overwhelming?
That's a valid concern. And honestly, it's something that the industry needs to do a better job of addressing, making these systems more user-friendly. The key is intuitive design and seamless integration. Ideally, you want your smart home to feel like an extension of your natural environment, not like this complicated machine you have to constantly tinker with.
So it's not about becoming like a tech wizard.
Right.
It's about the technology fading into the background and just working.
Exactly. It should be effortless. It should make your life easier, not more complicated.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Nest and Ecobee for thermostats. What about other areas of the house? What are some of the standout players in, like, lighting or security?
Oh, there are so many cool options. For lighting, Philips Hue is a really popular choice.
Yep.
They have a wide range of bulbs and fixtures. You can control them individually, group them together, and their AI features are constantly evolving.
Wow.
They even have bulbs that adjust their color temperature throughout the day to mimic natural light, which can actually improve your sleep cycle.
Oh, interesting. So we're not just talking about energy efficiency. We're
Yeah.
talking about improving our, like, well-being.
Exactly. It's about creating a healthier, more comfortable living environment.
What about security? What's happening in that realm?
Security is another area where AI is really making waves. Companies like Ring and Arlo, they're leading the charge with cameras that can differentiate between, say, a harmless squirrel and a potential intruder.
Oh, wow.
So you're not getting all these false alarms. You can even get systems that use facial recognition to grant access to your home, so no more fumbling with keys.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. But I can also see how some people might be a little hesitant about, like, having cameras with facial recognition all over their house.
Absolutely. Privacy and data security, those are paramount concerns, and it's a conversation we need to have as this technology becomes more prevalent.
So it's not just about embracing the, like, cool new features, but also understanding, like, the implications and making choices about what we're comfortable with.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between convenience, security, and privacy.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into smart homes. We've talked about the importance of a system analysis.
Yeah.
We've talked about the key players in the market, and even touched on some of the ethical considerations.
And we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore.
There's a lot more to explore.
In the next part, we're going to really delve into the energy-saving potential of smart homes. And I'll share some real-world examples of how AI is helping people slash their utility bills.
Sounds good. We will be right back.
Okay.
Okay, so we are back, and we're going to get deeper into this whole smart home optimization thing.
All right.
Before the break, we were talking about some of the, like, major players like Nest, Ecobee, and Philips Hue.
Uh-huh.
But let's talk about, like, the real-world impact of this technology.
Yeah.
I know energy savings is a big selling point for smart homes.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the biggest.
Can you give us some, like, concrete examples of how AI is actually making a difference?
Sure, I can. So one of the most compelling examples is how these AI-powered thermostats are revolutionizing the way we heat and cool our homes. Do you remember those old programmable thermostats?
Yeah, totally.
Where you set a schedule and it just followed it
Yeah.
blindly, whether you were home or not?
Yeah, and honestly, I was never very good at programming them.
Right. Well, that's the thing with these AI-powered thermostats. You don't have to program them.
Okay.
They actually learn from your behavior, so they track your movements through occupancy sensors.
Okay.
They analyze your temperature preferences.
Wow.
And they even look at things like the weather outside.
So it's like having this, like, personal climate control expert
Right.
constantly monitoring and adjusting things.
Exactly. It's all about optimizing for comfort and efficiency. And the results are pretty impressive. For example, Nest did a study,
Okay.
and they found that their learning thermostats, these AI-powered thermostats,
Uh-huh.
saved users on average 10 to 12%
Wow.
on heating bills,
Wow.
and then 15% on cooling bills.
Those are significant savings. So how does it work?
Sure, sure.
Like, walk me through a scenario.
Okay, so imagine this. Imagine you leave for work every morning at 8 a.m., right? An AI-powered thermostat, like Nest, will learn this pattern,
Okay.
and it'll automatically lower the temperature while you're gone.
Makes sense.
And then, as your usual arrival time approaches, say 5 p.m. or whenever you typically get home,
Right.
it starts warming the house back up. So you walk into this perfectly comfortable environment without having wasted all that energy.
It's so smart.
Right.
It's not just turning things on and off. It's anticipating my needs.
Exactly.
And it's making these adjustments throughout the day. What about other areas of the house?
Uh-huh.
Are there any other areas where we're seeing like really significant energy savings with AI?
Oh, absolutely. Lighting is another big one.
Okay.
So smart bulbs, like the ones from Philips Hue that we talked about earlier,
Right.
they can be programmed to turn off automatically when a room is empty.
Okay.
And they can even dim themselves gradually as natural daylight increases. So
Yeah.
you're not,
Right.
using artificial light when you don't need to.
And I'm assuming that these smart bulbs are also using LED technology,
Yeah.
which is already more efficient than those old incandescent bulbs.
Oh, absolutely. LEDs are much more energy efficient, but when you combine LEDs with AI-powered controls,
Yeah.
that's when you see those really significant savings.
So it's like this compounding effect.
Right.
It's more efficient technology being used in a more efficient way.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop there. It's not just lighting and temperature control. Even smart appliances like your washing machine or your dishwasher,
Oh, wow.
they can also benefit from AI optimization.
Okay.
They can learn your usage patterns, like when you typically run your dishwasher,
Right.
and then automatically run cycles during off-peak hours when electricity rates are lower.
So it's saving me money without me even having to think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is awesome. We're talking about impacting multiple areas of the home, not just like, isolated gadgets. It sounds like this holistic approach to energy management.
That's exactly what it is. And that's what's so exciting about this technology. It's not just about making individual devices smarter. It's about connecting them, creating this integrated ecosystem that works together.
Now, you mentioned earlier that it's not just about saving money, it's about improving our well-being.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure, I can. So one area where AI is really making a difference in well-being is sleep optimization.
Okay.
So remember those smart bulbs we talked about earlier? They can actually adjust their color temperature throughout the day
Yeah.
to mimic natural light patterns. So in the morning, they can emit this bright bluish light that helps you wake up,
Oh, wow.
feel more energized, like a sunrise simulator in your bedroom.
That's awesome.
And then as evening approaches, they can gradually shift to a warmer amber tone, which helps promote relaxation,
Interesting.
prepare your body for sleep.
So we're not just talking about energy efficiency. We're
Right.
talking about actually using light to like hack our circadian rhythms and improve our sleep.
You got it. And it's not just lighting. Smart thermostats can also play a role in sleep optimization. They can automatically lower the temperature in your bedroom a few degrees before bedtime, creating that ideal sleep environment.
Yeah, I know from experience that temperature plays a huge role in how well I sleep.
Absolutely. And as AI continues to advance, we're going to see even more sophisticated applications in the home for health and well-being.
Wow.
Imagine sensors that monitor your sleep patterns,
Okay.
track your vital signs, and even detect potential health issues.
So it's like science fiction is becoming reality.
It is. It's really incredible to think about the possibilities. We're talking about transforming the way we live,
Yeah.
not just in terms of comfort and convenience, but also in terms of our health and longevity.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about energy savings, we've talked about sleep, and we've talked about all these advancements that are on the horizon.
Yeah, and we're not done yet. There's still more to discuss.
No, there's more.
In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore the exciting world of AI in home security.
Okay.
And we'll even delve into some of these cutting-edge technologies that are really shaping the future of smart living.
All right, so welcome back to the show. We have been talking all about smart homes,
Yes, we have.
and we've talked about how they can save us money
Uh-huh.
and how they can even improve our sleep.
Exactly.
But there's one area I feel like we're missing,
Yeah.
and that's security.
You're right.
So how is AI changing the game when it comes to keeping our homes safe?
Well, I'm glad you asked because this is where AI really shines. We've all seen those futuristic movies with houses that are like impenetrable fortresses,
Right.
protected by like invisible shields and laser beams and stuff.
Exactly.
We're not quite there yet,
Yeah.
but AI is making our homes much, much smarter when it comes to security, and they're more proactive than ever before.
So my current security system is pretty basic. Like an alarm goes off if someone breaks a window or something.
Right, yeah.
So it's very reactive. How is AI changing that?
Well, think of it this way. We're moving from a passive defense to an active one.
Okay, yeah.
AI-powered security systems, they're constantly learning, they're constantly adapting, and they can analyze patterns to identify potential threats even before they actually happen.
So instead of just reacting to like a broken window,
Yeah.
they're trying to predict
Exactly.
when something bad might happen.
Yeah, it's all about prevention.
Okay, so give me an example. How does that actually work in like the real world?
Okay, so imagine you have a smart security camera,
Okay.
and it has built-in facial recognition.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, this camera, it learns to recognize the faces of your family members,
Wow.
your friends, anyone you trust.
Right.
So let's say someone unfamiliar approaches your door.
Okay.
The system's going to flag that as a potential threat and send you a real-time alert on your phone.
So it's like having a really smart guard dog
Right.
that knows who belongs and who doesn't.
Exactly. It's
But-
like an extra set of eyes looking out for you.
What if it's just like a delivery person or something?
That's a great question. And that's why these systems are becoming increasingly sophisticated in how they differentiate between, like, harmless events and real threats.
Okay.
For example, AI can now analyze body language,
Interesting.
movement patterns, even like the objects that someone might be carrying to determine the level of risk.
So it's not just like seeing a face, it's understanding the whole
Right.
context of the situation.
It's like reading the room, but on a whole new level.
That's pretty impressive. Now, are there other types of devices that are like getting this AI upgrade for security?
Absolutely. So we've got the smart cameras, but smart locks are also becoming incredibly intelligent.
Right.
They can use things like your location to automatically unlock as you approach the door.
Oh, that's convenient.
Right. But of course, you might be thinking, what happens if I lose my phone?
Right. Yeah.
What if someone steals it and tries to get into my house?
Yeah.
Well, that's where things like multi-factor authentication come in.
Okay.
You can set up your smart lock to require like a fingerprint scan or unique code that gets sent to your email.
Got it.
So you've got these extra layers of security.
So it's not just about convenience.
Right.
It's also about making sure that like
exactly.
it's still very secure.
Ah.
Are there any other exciting developments happening in this whole smart home security space?
Oh, there's so many. One thing I'm really excited about is how AI is being integrated with home automation systems.
Okay, so like,
So imagine this, right? Your security system, it detects a potential break-in. Now, instead of just sounding an alarm, what if it could trigger all sorts of actions designed to, like, scare off the intruder?
oh, wow. Okay.
So suddenly, all the lights turn on, the blinds go up, maybe even a voice comes over the speaker system,
Whoa.
something like warning them that the police have been called.
Yeah, that's some next level stuff.
Right.
It's like the house is fighting back.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like, cool factor,
Yeah.
what's the real benefit of that kind of like integrated response?
It all comes down to deterrence and response time.
Hmm.
The goal is to, scare off the intruder before they can do any damage,
Oh, yeah.
and to alert you and the authorities as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because with a traditional system, by the time I like hear the alarm, call
Yeah.
the police, they're probably long gone.
Right, exactly. But with these AI systems,
Yeah.
the response is immediate and multifaceted.
So we've talked a lot about all the amazing things that AI can do, but I also want to talk about like the
Yeah.
potential downsides. So we've talked about AI learning our habits, learning our preferences,
Right.
but that means it's gathering a lot of data about us. What are the implications of that?
You're right. You're hitting on a really crucial point here.
Yeah.
The more our homes learn about us, the more data they collect. And so, yeah, we really have to think about privacy and security. And I think it's really important to choose companies and providers that, they prioritize things like data encryption, and they're transparent about how your data is being used.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's also about the ethics
Exactly.
behind how that technology is being used.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think this has been an incredible journey through the world of smart homes.
It has.
We've gone from the very basic system analysis to these mind-blowing possibilities and all the things that AI can do.
It's amazing how far we've come.
Yeah.
And even more amazing to think about where we're headed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's like the one big takeaway you want listeners to kind of remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that smart homes are more than just cool gadgets, you know?
Right.
They have the potential to truly transform the way we live. They can save us money,
Yeah.
make our lives easier, keep us safer, and even improve our health and well-being.
And it's just the beginning.
It is just the beginning. The possibilities are limitless.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what the future holds for smart homes.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive. Thank you so much for listening,
Thanks for having me.
and we will see you next time.